The New York Giants have the third pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. And for me, Nate, I do at least one mock draft, first round that is, every week. Just based on the news that has occurred from the past week, I take everything into consideration and make a new mock draft. For some reason, the third overall pick each week is the one that I stumble on. We don't know what's going to happen here. Originally, I figured, okay, well, they're probably going to go inside. They have two outside defenders in Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. It's probably going to be somebody inside like Mason Graham. But the more I think about it, the more I realize, is it going to hurt New York to pass on a prospect like Abdul Carter at number 3? So before I give any stats or any numbers or anything, Nate, you have any information about what's going on at number 3? What do you think of the Giants at number 3?
It can happen. Really, the thing that's going to be interesting. Again, we know we're pretty sold on pick number 1 with Cam Moore. Pick 2 and 3, it's the confusion. It's confusing because of the simple fact that whether it's Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, they can be interchangeable. Now we look just again look at the aspect look at the scenario. Abdul Carter, the Cleveland Browns have a defensive lineman by the name of Myles Garrett, one of the best pass rushers in the league, and they just re-signed Myles Garrett to a massive contract. Myles Garrett commands numerous double and triple teams and whatnot. Okay. Now, if you draft, hypothetically, if you draft an Abdul Carter with the number 2 pick, you put him on the opposite side as the right end, where he's going to be built in for success, to be honest with you. He can have a monster rookie year with the fact that so many teams are going to be paying attention to what Myles Garrett brings to the table. On top of that, we're talking about the AFC North, where you have to play against the likes of a Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. We don't know who's going to be in Pittsburgh, but we're talking about teams that have quarterbacks that, again, the name of the game is getting the quarterback and getting pressure on the quarterback and not letting him feel comfortable in the pocket. And defense, if I gotta say it, defense wins championships. Offense sells tickets. But we can go ahead and go with that same thing in regards to the New York Giants. The Giants have a first round draft pick, and I don't know how to say his last name, so help me out, please, Connor. Kayvon Thibodeau. Please, I didn't want to butcher his name. So, and he's still on his rookie contract. You can go ahead and pair him up with Abdul Carter and have a formidable defensive line. Now, the interesting aspect of it is now, again, those teams, either one of those teams can do that, and whatnot. And Travis Hunter falls in right after. We're talking about a once in a lifetime and Travis Hunter. So, it happened. If anything can happen in this moment in regards to the draft, the thing that we'll expect those to go 2 and 3. The thing that we don't see is what if my trade and the draft. We're not talking about if somebody just trade up and get some talent.
Okay. You're breaking out a little bit on me here, but I understand what you're saying. I'm going to try to fill in the blanks. You talked about Travis Hunter, and then you talked about the possibility of a trade back, someone trading up in the draft. Let's pause on the trade back first. I want to get there. But I want to talk about the scenarios if they stayed put at 3, and then let's talk about trading, because I have something interesting to precede it before we get to the trade aspect of it, because certain things would have to fall in place for the Giants to trade back. So let's discuss an Abdul Carter type prospect to New York. Brian Burns is on the second year of a 5-year, $141 million deal he signed just last year in 2024. Kayvon Thibodeau is on the last year of his rookie deal. He is set to make less than $10 million this year.
Wait, is he on the rookie option or no?
No. Now, his 5th year, should they choose to sign him to a 5th-year option because he was the 5th overall pick back in 2022, it will be worth $16 million. Okay? Because that is the snap percentage he played during his rookie year. He played 14 games in his rookie season, 17 games last year, 2023, and then 12 in 2024. So he hasn't found the field a bunch because he's been injured. For me, if I'm drafting Abdul Carter, I either trade Kayvon Thibodeau before the deadline or I simply just don't re-sign him. Because this is what you get with Abdul Carter might be a better player than what you had with Kayvon Thibodeau. He's injury prone. He hasn't produced the way you wanted him to. In the past 3 years, Nate, he's only had, let me do some quick math here, 21 sacks, 21 combined sacks, and 26 tackles for loss in 3 years, which averages about 7 sacks a season. For the 5th overall pick, Nate, I'm wanting a little bit more production, just in my opinion. He's been injury prone. I don't know if I want to keep that as an asset on my team. He came off of a career 11.5 sack year in 2023, which means he has shown flashes of being a great player, a great starter. But he's not going to go just anywhere. Mm-hmm. The only way Kayvon Thibodeau would go anywhere is if he is guaranteed a starting spot. Should you draft Abdul Carter, neither one of them should play inside. They are both pure edge rushers. Mm-hmm. Right now you have Kayvon Thibodeau listed as a right outside linebacker. Should you choose to keep him in the box the majority of the time and keep Abdul Carter on the line, you could do that. There is no world where you should keep Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter on the same roster. There is just no world that happens.
That's too much money in that one in particular room. The reality.
Exactly.
So, who would trade for a Kayvon Thibodeau? Because you want to get something back. He's still young. You want to get something back, but he has not produced in a manner where you're going to command anything.
There's a lot of teams that need edges, Nate. Yeah, Ravens are one of them.
He hasn't produced in a manner where if you're trading away at Kayvon Thibodeau, you're probably going to have to get pennies on the dollar, where you may get a 4th, maybe a 5th round draft pick because he has not produced at the standard that his draft number is.
And I get that, which means you can just let him play his rookie deal and find elsewhere to play. But the issue with that is you're not getting any value for that 5th overall pick you had in 2022. No. The best case scenario is you trade him before the deadline. If you can you traded for Brian Burns and you exchange it for a 2nd round pick to the Panthers. The best case scenario for Kayvon Thibodeau, I would think, is a 3rd round pick. But you have to think, if he is not traded before this year happens, teams aren't going to get a full year of Kayvon Thibodeau. The team that trades for him, they're only going to get a Kayvon Thibodeau that only produces 5.5 sacks in 12 games. Best case scenario, you trade him before the season. You Joe Shane, this is what he needs to be doing. Hey, look, I got this young talent. He's shown flashes of being great. Not necessarily produced how I wanted him to, but he could produce how you want him to. He had 11.5 sacks in 2023. Flashes of being a great player. Let's see what you can provide for him, because New York just hasn't provided what we wanted him to. You ship him off somewhere else before the season starts, that's where you get your trade value. If he comes off 2025 and has a slow start to 2025, that is the worst case scenario for the New York Giants. You're not only not trading him that year, but if you do, you will get a bag of chips and a Diet Coke from the nearest 7-Eleven.
But let me ask you this then, Connor. If you're the Giants, then do Do you come to the grips and understand and admitting that he's a draft bust and you missed on another draft, top 5 draft pick?
You might have missed on 2 that year because you drafted Evan Neal, I think, with the 7th overall pick, just a couple
Yeah.
picks later, and
Yeah.
you missed on him too. He hasn't been the tackle you wanted him to.
Nope.
So you just have to say, look, 2022, it was a flop, but now you're having the same situation with your 2023 first round draft pick, Deontay Banks.
Yeah.
Not a single one of your not even defensive, your first round draft picks in the past couple of years, besides Malik Neighbors, has panned out the way you wanted to.
Exactly.
You win some, you lose some. You got to know when to take your losses.
But they've lost. That's all they've just lost the whole time. Like, they have not won on any first round draft pick in the last, Danny Dimes. The last first round draft pick that they won on, to be honest with you, was Saquon Barkley.
Well, in this past year.
Never.
Yeah. But this is the thing, Nate. You have to know when to cut ties with these type of people. This is a business. And the most successful businessmen are the ones who have also lost the most. The ones that know, hey, this is not best for business. I need to get rid of this and start over. This has to be the situation Joe Shane is looking at. I have to start over in defensive, my edge rushing position, and it starts at number 3, drafting Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
Should you choose to draft Abdul Carter? Now there's another situation. And let me bring it up to you, Nate. Thursday, the Giants are flying to Boulder, Colorado to host a private workout for Shedeur Sanders. Now, I have said on this show, if Shedeur Sanders was available at 3, the New York Giants would not draft him. Based on everything I have looked at and researched and most of what their staff is talking about. But you take a look at this, Nate, this does not happen every year where teams just fly out a week before the draft and go host a private workout. That just does not happen. So for the Giants to say, hey, we're going to fly out, give Shedeur Sanders one last chance and see what happens because we might draft him at 3. The Giants are interested in Shedeur Sanders. But if he does not check every box they want, they're figuring him out right now. But they want to figure out 100% of Shedeur Sanders. Regardless of if you get that 100%, I don't think you take him at 3. What I think is happening, Nate, is a good old draft day Kevin Costner mind game. They are finding the strengths of Shedeur, writing them down, everything that he does not so well on the football field, writing them down, and they are going to see which team is desperate enough to trade up to 3 to take Shedeur. Because now they are showing teams, hey, we're flying out to the man's place of residence to go watch him work out and throw a football. If that doesn't scream, hey, we're taking Shedeur at 3, you better trade up before we do, I don't know what does. I think Joe Shane is playing perfect mind games right here. And I think there's going to be a team that might take the bait. If they don't, you go back to the original plan A, and draft Abdul Carter. What you think? You're still muted, I think.
That was a lot. You had a lot of logic in a lot of things.
I've done a lot of research for the 3rd overall.
You had a lot of logic. A lot of logic. I mean, that right there is something that
I mean, think about it, Nate. Think about it. Shedeur Sanders, a lot of people are saying has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in this draft class. Has worked out with the greatest of all time. His dad is one of the GOATs. He has such a high ceiling that teams are going to be eager to tap that unlocked potential. To tap whatever it is Shedeur Sanders can do. Because nobody has any idea what he can do besides lead the country with 74% completion percentage last year in college football. There's a lot to be discovered with Shador. I think the Giants are going to trade back, Nate, if somebody takes the bait. That's why I told you to wait before we discussed it. The Giants trade back. Joe Shane and Brian DeBall, much like Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles were, they are fighting for their job. The Giants owner is getting very impatient, but he's been patient enough to let these guys keep doing what they're doing because Joe Shane was signed to a 5-year deal, and so he wants to let it play out to see what Joe Shane can do. You have to make the right decision. You have to make the right move. Ryan Poles was able to do that. That's why he still has a job in Chicago. Can Joe Shane do the same thing? If you were New York, Nate, I have given you every scenario possible based on you hosting a workout with Shador, based on everything that we have talked about. New York Giants are up on the clock. It's April 24th, 2025. It's the first round of the NFL draft. What do you do if you're Joe Shane?
I'm not drafting Shador. I'm not drafting Shador.
Is Abdul Carter...
Abdul Carter.
Okay, but is Abdul Carter worth trading back and acquiring draft capital? Or is he that good of a prospect you just cannot pass up on? This edge class is deep. Not everybody's Abdul Carter.
You can't pass up on him. You can't. Oh, I hate saying that. You can't pass up on him. Just because you missed on Kayvon Thibodeau, who was supposed to be all world.
You missed on a lot. Kadarius Toney's another name.
He was so talented.
In college, he was so good. Part of that SEC championship appearance, Kyle Trask, I think. That might have been, but he might have been before that. But he was so good at Florida. He was so good. But regardless, I just think they're playing, like I told you, it's good old-fashioned mind games. Because I watched the Get Up this morning. I do like my Get Up. I watched it. They had a guy on there. I can't remember his name because he's never on there. He said that this, not even hosting, you're flying to Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
To host a private workout Thursday morning with Shador. A week before the draft, Nate. They made it explicitly clear that this does not happen. This is out of the ordinary. I think they're trying to show teams they are interested. And if their interest level and satisfaction gets up and near 100%,
they will listen.
Teams are going to be desperate to trade up for that number 3 and take Shador.
They're literally listening to all phone calls.
Oh, I get it. I don't know, Nate. If I was someone like the Steelers, needed a quarterback.
But do you really want to trade up? The Steelers are at the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
21st.
Do you really trade up to go get them? You're talking about trading up 18 spots.
Depends on how bad you want them, Nate. Texas traded up to 3.
The asking price is high.
That's why I asked if it was worth it. Because they're going to have to get a package they feel is worth skipping out on Abdul Carter. But if you're going to keep, we didn't even mention this, which is an unlikely scenario. If you're going to keep Kayvon Thibodeau, I say you draft inside. But it's difficult because Abdul Carter doesn't happen every year.
No, it doesn't.